Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com.
Welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm your host, Nate, and with me, as always, is my tribal chief, Nate.
I'm smarter than a beaver.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen the test scores. We're still waiting on them.
Am I smarter than a beaver? Is it like Yogi Bear? I'm smarter than the average beaver. And then also, is it Jeff Foxworthy's Are You Smarter Than a Beaver?
Well, and then, I mean, but then, are you counting the zombievers in that population? Are we talking?
Oh, that's tough. They're more coordinated. They're way more coordinated.
Yeah. I mean, then the zombies, you know, I mean, there's a whole thing. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. Welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, where each week we take a look at a different horror movie and debate a horror-related topic with our unsuspecting victim, usually not what we would consider a horror fan. Of course, welcome back. We have our queen of unsuspecting victims, Lisa, with us.
Hey, everybody.
She has come back from her hunt. I forgot what they call it in this movie, but we'll talk about that. Welcome back, Lisa. I missed you the last couple of weeks. And returning for this week, we have resident ornithologist Taylor coming back to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here and can confirm I'm probably not smarter than a zombiever, but that's okay.
I truly don't know if a zombiever is smarter. We need to go and revisit that episode, I think, and really ask the hard questions that we're asking here.
the hard questions.
No one else is look, I'm just saying no one else is asking these questions, Nate. What does that tell you? Don't worry about that.
It's because they don't want you to know. That's why.
That's right.
That's why. Yeah.
That's right. Well, welcome to another week. We are going to be talking about a movie that we've been hyping on this show for quite some time now, without any sort of foundational reason why.
Zero. Absolutely none.
Yeah,
it's great.
But yeah, Prey is Eat, Pray, Love. I think is
I was actually Prey-Dator.
Oh, the Prey. Yeah. I'll give that a 5. That was okay.
A high 5 or a low 5? Sounds like a low 5.
Yeah, we're talking Prey, which has come out directly on Hulu. I mean, that's like this generation's like direct to VHS, right? And we're gonna get into it. I want to know what y'all think about that decision, because it has been doing very well. I think it's Hulu's like biggest hit they've had on their platform ever, like their biggest release. So yeah, we're gonna get talking about it. We're gonna talk about a whole bunch of things. Lisa, it's been a little bit. I know you didn't watch any of the other movies previously, but I think you've heard me talk about them. Any comments? Any thoughts from your time away from us that you wanted to share?
Nope.
No. Can you just hear how relaxed Lisa sounds? Not having been on an episode in a couple of weeks. Like, you can just hear.
Yeah.
Like, I just felt like when she said nope, like her shoulders were down like 2 inches lower than the last time we talked to her. Like I heard it over the microphone somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to have you back. We got a lot to talk about this. I'm very excited to talk about Prey. Before we do that, let's get into this week's debate question.
They were warned. At least tell me where you're going, so that when you don't come back, I'll know how to fill out the report. But they did not understand the warning.
They just
hashtag they didn't understand the warning. Is that a new thing now? Is that for us?
It might be. I mean, that's probably what we say for people who come onto our show. They didn't understand the warning. I don't know. Look, this movie, I feel like opens the door to like ancient alien crossover fight things. Like look, Predator fighting the Comanches. Incredible thing. Like when we talk about our elevator pitch, would anyone have realistically like pitched this out? Like, hear me out, guys. The Predator's going to come and fight Native Americans. It's going to be badass, right? And my question is, I mean, and weird ass premise, but it works. I'm curious though. Let's go a little kind of Deadliest Warrior here. Nate, I know that's your favorite show. Please
explain what Deadliest Warrior is, because the only reason I even remotely know what it is because of you. Please explain this.
Sure. So I introduced Nate to his favorite show in the world, Deadliest Warrior, years ago. And the idea of this show is that you had two groups of people saying, "Hey, who would win in like a gang fight or a one-on-one fight? Would it be like a samurai versus a medieval knight? Would it be the Yakuza versus the Mafia? Would it be, I mean, just random pairings?" And then the best part about the show is that they would like talk about like a short range, a mid range, and a long range weapon, and like they like test it out and they try to apply some, totally bullshit like metrics on it. But the best part of it is that they'd have the quote unquote experts that would try to explain like why they, basically pitching why they would win. And then they did like a computer simulation. They, kind of acted out at the end. It gave us an interest. So clearly he turned into a huge fan.
Clearly.
My favorite, this is not really isn't meant to turn into a Deadliest Warrior pitch, but the episode with the Mafia is the best because the expert is like this older Italian dude who, when he's talking about like how he would use these weapons, you kind of believe he knows what he's talking about. Like, oh, this dude's seen some shit. That's the only time I've ever been like, oh, this is a guy I'd be worried about. Like everyone else is like just really like nerd enthusiast almost to a degree. This guy mildly terrifying. That said,
so what is that episode? It's like mob versus Genghis Khan's Mongol horde.
No, it was
we can take him out no problem.
It was the Yakuza versus the Mafia. It was
of course.
That one, some of them weren't as great. The better ones were like the older I think there was like oh man, I'd have to look up. Samurai and medieval knight stick out in my head. I think there was one that was like pirate versus was it Viking or something? I
don't know what's happening.
Just bizarre.
What is happening?
The Maori warrior versus, I mean, just ridiculous pairings. Regardless, let's get back. Let me pull you back. Okay, so that's Nate's show, and you should all please send Nate specific clips of your favorite moments and let him tell you why he enjoys that so much.
Ninja versus racist 1950s Alabama sheriff. Like, who wins? Who cares? That's
Nate cares because that is his favorite show. But here's my point.
Reverse of whoever wins, we lose. It's the reverse of that. Whoever doesn't care, we win. That's what it should be.
So my question is, let's take a similar concept. I want you, I mean, that's what they basically did. They're like, hey, what if Predator came and fought like Native Americans? Give me a horror movie icon. Let's open this up. I mean, anything can happen. Who would you pitch to fight some like ancient civilization, some older civilization, pitch me that battle. Give me this matchup.
Yeah, I got one.
Go ahead, Nate.
I'm not even going to say Leprechaun because I won't do that again. I'm pretty sure I already said something along those lines. And I won't do Archie because I don't know if you know this, Taylor, but there was Archie vs. Predator and Archie vs. Predator 2 comics. That's right, Archie.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I can't even imagine how Archie was alive for the second one, but here we are. I'm going to go Critters versus Predator. Because there's so many. They just roll around. They'd be challenging to catch. And I think it would just be like a hilarious just annoyance for the Predator. Like the Predator might just give up. Like just be too annoyed and leave. And I would love to see that movie. Mitch.
That was one way to take this. No, I'll give you mine, and then Lisa and Taylor, I'd love to hear yours. And I would like to see Pinhead fighting like ninjas. Like old school ninja with because okay, so ninjas had those like crazy like the chain weapons and the shurikens and all that, all those, very bladed kind of weapons. But I would love to see them go up against like the master of that with Pinhead and from Hellraiser, right? Like there's just chains and blades just flying everywhere.
It's like you just want like a sequel to Mandy, basically. The Mandy.
I guess it's like it's like medieval Mandy, which I'm now making that a band name. So there you go.
Okay, all right. Damn.
I was trying to think of something with Puppet Master. I may come back. I'm still.
The thing about that is that the puppets always lose, so I'm in on that crossover actually. Because
they've already fought.
Win.
They've already fought the Nazis from 3. So where do I go now? Right, like that's the problem. Taylor.
Yeah. See, okay. So I'm just gonna agree with you hard and say that should have been the end. Like, where do you go from? You shouldn't have gone.
Well, they fought demons, so they went a whole opposite direction.
It was presumptuous to continue. All right, what do you guys?
Taylor, what do you think?
I don't think I'm fully answering the question you want me to answer. I'm answering with the answer I think is the funniest to me personally.
That's great.
And it's really any horror creature, but we'll go with Predator versus an entire cast of The Bachelorette.
Jesus Christ.
Because I just with the confessionals, I want the confessional videos and people being like, he's just clearly not here for the right reasons.
What if the Predator sits down in the confessional and like someone says something mean to him, he takes off the mask and he's like ugly crying, but like,
he's just clicking and crying.
And then the Predator puts its hand over its face. Like you can't tell what's happening, and then you see how sad the Predator was from that like mean thing that was said to him earlier in the episode. That sounds incredible.
I would just laugh.
Yeah, I think I just wrote an SNL sketch, I'll be honest, but I want to see that.
It's pretty
like, what if it's like a lock-in one like Big Brother? And obviously the Predator tries to be stealth at all times, right? But you're trapped in the house and there's cameras everywhere. So the Predator like has to just go along with this as part of their code to not get seen, right? And to try to be stealth, and just has to go along with this whole Big Brother thing and tries to make it to the end. That would be incredible.
But Nate, his vision's based on heat, and half the episodes they're always in a hot tub. So I don't know what the hell he's even going to see. Like every
time they come out of the hot tub, like he's just like shocked, like just scared every time. That is incredible.
Oh, what the hell?
And like someone's like, "Hey, this Amber was right next to you with alcohol poisoning." It's like, I don't know, her blood was too cold. I couldn't see it. And the Predator's trying to explain. That sounds incredible. I love all of
what
this.
Is the rose ceremony him just handing everyone like 17th century guns, like flintlock pistols when they make it to the next round? Like,
we'll get into that. Don't worry. Wow. Well, Taylor, you won. So I'm just gonna go say you won.
Hold on, Lisa.
Sorry. I mean, you're in the lead.
Yeah.
You're in the lead right now. You just destroyed ours. That's done. All right. What do you got, Lisa?
So sorry, I missed. So does it have to be Predator versus, or can it be any two?
It can be any. It can be any. There's clearly a Predator love thing happening here, which is fine. I'm good, all for it.
No, I think we got to go Leprechaun versus Chucky.
God damn.
It's already been pitched, but I second this again. I love
Did
that.
you say it, Nate?
No. I think a studio actually pitched it.
Just in dozens of other episodes, but not this one. So
Yeah,
I'm 100%
I feel like
on
we've
board.
talked about it before.
Keep going with it. Keep going. Keep going with it.
Nate's not upset that you're
not upset. I like this. It's like I found a friend.
After all this time,
I feel like when people say "find your tribe," they're talking about right now. So I'm liking that.
Please snatch that Blu-ray.
Please talk more about this. What do you envision?
I feel like they're both sassy and sarcastic. So I feel like they would get into more of a battle talking to each other than they would actually try and fight each other.
Would it? Is it a buddy? Is it a buddy cop film? Emphasis on buddy because he's a buddy doll. But like,
I think they start out thrown together by some magical curse, and there is always a boy of some kind who's like the enemy, and they are fighting each other, and then they learn to work together, and then they kill the kid.
This feels like this feels like a better pitch for a sitcom. Like I want this serialized. I don't want just a one and done movie. Yeah. I want like the Adventures of Chuck and Lep. Like
I like it. I like that a lot. I like that quite a bit.
Well, you and I absolutely lost this one. I don't know who won. But
hey guys, instead of making a million more Puppet Master movies, why don't you make that movie?
Because that would cost money. That would cost money, Nate.
Would it?
The puppets are already made. They're already ready to go.
Wow. Okay.
Anyway, let us know. Let us know. Is it called like Chucky and Lucky or something? Like what? I'm trying to think. Chucky and Lucky is good.
That's the buddy.
Good. I like that.
Okay. All right. All right, Lionsgate or whoever has this.
There you go.
Balls at your court.
Let us know.
Dolls in your court. Sorry.
Oh my God. A lot of yeah. we definitely went a certain way with this. Let us know what you think. Who would you want to see? I mean, we didn't even touch like the actual original intent of the question, and I'm fine with that, which was like, oh, should they fight Vikings or Egyptians or who cares? Let's have them in The Bachelor. Let us know what situation you would like to see these folks in. Texas Podcast Massacre at gmail.com, TX Pod Massacre on Twitter, Texas Podcast Massacre everywhere else. I mean, Nate, give us a call because we're getting calls, but we're getting calls from like tax people, which is concerning. We got one call today.
Did you follow up on what their thoughts on Predator versus the Bachelorette is or whatever?
They hung up, which was rude.
They hung up.
I guess they were questioning about some purchases around some Puppet Master dolls. I don't know. I tried to explain.
This was a gift. Well, was it above?
Yeah,
above the threshold?
I don't know what the tax laws are on gifts, but yeah, we would like actual people to call. Give us a call 346-246-3143, 346-246-3143. Yeah, and hang out with us on Twitter. Everywhere else, man. We got some stuff. I just saw someone in a big Predator cosplay thing that's kind of spooked the shit out of me. That was good. That was pretty impressive. That was random. If you go on our Twitter, you will find things like that just hanging around. We've got to get
Japanese people liking tweets from 2 years ago. Boom.
Look,
get it.
Yeah. No one says you have to look at our most recent tweets. Feel free to peruse, explore the space.
Go back 2 years when we did It Comes at Night and just start commenting.
Maybe don't go back that far. Go back a little less far than that. Let's get into this week's movie of the week, Prey.
Why do you want to hunt?
Because you all think that I can't. I saw a sign in the sky. I'm ready.
Maui, Nita.
There's something out there. I'm coming with you.
You can't.
I'm trying to protect you.
Protect me from what? It's time.
It knows how to hunt. I know how to survive. Whatever did this, I can kill it.
I gotta tell you, I haven't, we watched the movie, I guess a couple weeks ago, and just watching that trailer again, I am immediately hyped all over for this movie.
Well, you know what's weird? So Mitch and I watched it in, was it Cherokee, Mitch?
Comanche, yeah, right?
Comanche, sorry, yes, Comanche with English subtitles. So it's kind of weird to actually hear them speak English.
Yeah, I think it's the same actors in both. I think they brought them back in to overdub it. So yeah, we watched it in the Comanche language, which was good. It was interesting. Oh man, Taylor. I mean, we'll go through the elevator pitch, but yeah, just how did they pitch this one? Because I seems like it was pretty straightforward. How would you describe this movie?
So I'll start by making a confession that I've never seen a Predator movie before this movie. So
now you've seen them all.
Yeah. I would say
you've seen the best one.
Okay, well, that was a question I had for everyone, but I had a feeling I would like it because I like sci-fi-ish stuff, and I mean, basically the whole pitch is Predator comes to early 1700s Great Plains and fights some Comanche tribe members and warriors. That was that's all I knew going in. It looked interesting and I really liked it. I thought it was a fun movie. So, but I mean, it was pretty much exactly what I expected based on the trailer.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Predator movies by and large are pretty much what you see is what you get. That said, I have to think about it. If this, we'll get into it in the final cut. I think of is this, where does this rank with the other Predator movies? Because I'm a little torn on where I think this kind of sits. Nate, what can you tell us about Prey?
Yeah, Prey came out. I mean, just came out. So August 5th. Watched it first day. I think I've seen it 3 times already. So
yeah.
I can confidently say that I'm a fan so far. Only 99 minutes, which is exactly the amount of length this kind of movie should be, right? The longer the Predator's on the screen, the worse it becomes, right? So the keep it short movie, perfect. 7.2 on IMDb is pretty high. 93% Rotten Tomato. Again, this is a Predator movie. What is happening? So much better than any right to be. This movie definitely should have been in the movie theaters. I don't think they knew what they had when they were making this movie, right?
No,
they wanted to try to play it safe. We got Hulu. Like, all right, we got a solid director who's done a lot of other stuff, which I'll get into in a second. This is kind of a leap, so we're not sure if this is going to be good. Spoiler alert: it's real good. Should have been in the movie theaters. Would have crushed probably. So downside there. That being said, the movie was filmed in the summer of 2021. Who knows with the COVID stuff, if they were just trying to, be conservative, not lose money, that kind of a thing. But man, this in the theater would have been incredible.
Well, I wonder,
missed opportunity.
Let's pause real quick, because I wonder about that. Do you think, and ladies and gentlemen, I'd like y'all to weigh in on this too. Do you think, we say that in hindsight, all this sort of crush, but I wonder if it being more accessible early on made more people end up watching it, because it's just easier to just put it on Hulu and check it out versus having to commit to actually going to the theater. Would that have made a difference, Taylor or Lisa, for y'all? I mean, Nate and I would have gone to see this no matter where it was. So we're probably...
it made a difference for me, because it would have been hard to go to the theater. So I liked that it was on streaming right away, because then I was able to do it on my schedule, work around the kiddos. So I've been happy when I feel like for parents that, it's hard to get out of the house. It's been nice to have some of these major movies come pretty fast.
I definitely would not have gone out of my way to see it. So I'm glad it was streaming, because I really liked it. But I wouldn't have gone to the theaters to see it. I was probably just waited for it to come to streaming.
Yeah, that's what I wondered. Yeah, I mean, certainly hindsight. I mean, look, the minute they started doing like test audiences, I think they should have pivoted probably. But I do wonder if being that it was on Hulu helped it more than if my worry is that they would have put it in theaters, but it may not have done as well until it came out on Hulu, because people just didn't go to see it, right? I don't know. It'll be the great mystery, I guess.
The great debate.
The great debate. Anyway, okay. I was curious what y'all thought about that. Sorry, go ahead, Nate.
No worries. So, so the whole point of this is 1719, North Great Plains, North America. Spoiler alert: Comanches were not in the Northern Great Plains, so fail there. Comanches were in Texas and more in the South, Oklahoma, New Mexico area. So failed there. Other than that, pretty solid in terms of how everything was working. The movie was actually, when they did the casting for the movie, everyone, read their lines in Comanche for the casting of this movie to get their parts and get everything, locked everybody in. Unfortunate that the movie only had a Comanche dub and not just a Comanche version. I mean, I understand they wanted to put it in English, right, for streaming and accessibility of the markets they're going into. But I would just kill for a Comanche version of it. The Comanche dub is spectacular, though, and highly recommend watching the movie in that way to get it a little more, to get you a little bit more into what's happening. Basically, if you do that, you hear no English the entire movie, right? Because you got some French people. You got a bunch of people speaking Comanche, and you have a bunch of Predator clicks. That's all you got in terms of dialogue. It's fantastic. It was loved watching it that way. Then I had to go back to watch it in English second time just to see how it worked. Not the best in comparison. So highly recommend watching it that way if you can. The movie was directed by, I would say a good director at this point. So Dan Trachtenberg, known for 10 Cloverfield Lane. He directed, that's probably one of the biggest things. He directed an episode of The Boys in the first season. Directed Playtest, one of my all-time favorite Black Mirror episodes.
He did Playtest? Oh, yeah.
I love Playtest so much. That's probably my favorite one, actually. And apparently there's a Waterworld TV show coming out, and he is attached to that. So I don't know how you want to. That's can either be really terrible or really or good.
I mean, I guess I'm willing to give it a shot, but Jesus, that's out of nowhere.
Apparently, and rumored to be writing a film adaptation for Portal, the video game series from Valve. So that could be a hilariously good movie or an absolute disaster. I don't know if there's any middle for a movie based on Portal, but there you go. So Dan Trachtenberg is doing some stuff. The main actress in this movie, Naru, is Amber Midthunder, most well known as Carrie from Legion. If you haven't seen Legion, hey, Legion's also on Hulu. So go watch it after you watch Prey, because she is incredibly good in Legion, and Legion's pretty solid on its own. So there you go. Another recommendation right there. And she's really good. She was had a small part in Hell or High Water, which is another very good movie. It's a nice West Texas thriller on that one. A small part in that one, but she's there. And my assumption would be she's going to be in a whole lot of crap going forward, because she is incredible in this and should be in everything. Also in the TV series, Roswell, New Mexico. So if you want your Roswell fix on the CW, then she's there as one of the main characters. So there you go. Her brother in this film, Tabe, is Dakota Beavers. Dakota Beavers has been in nothing. This is his first movie. That's incredible, because he is also spectacular in this. Did you guys think that guy had never been in a movie before?
No, I thought he was so good. That's
was
really
he
surprising.
Was he in
very cool for him?
Yeah, was he in anything at all? Like no TV,
Zero.
no nothing?
Nothing on IMDb.
Yeah, I didn't. Maybe not a movie, but if you told me he'd been something, sure. But yeah, to have nothing come out of it, wow, that's really good. He was really good.
This guy's incredible in this movie. And Dane DeLiegro. Jeez, that's a mouthful.
You want to try that? You want to?
Nope. I'm just gonna let that sit.
What was that name again?
Dane DeLiegro. There you go.
I don't think that's how you said the first time. We're gonna go with it.
Nope, I don't think so. That guy's the Predator, and it's been in a couple of things here and there, but it's coming up on a movie called in 2022 called Monsters of California. Looks like he's one of the leads. Nothing really super exciting about this one, other than the fact that he's the lead paired with Casper Van Dien in this. So you know it's going to be a really good movie.
Yeah, that's why you know.
There you go. That's later this year. So look at that. Back-to-back movies with monsters in them. And Casper Van Dien is still cashing checks. So there you go. So, and then this movie, obviously, filmed during 2021 in the summer. It's filmed in Calgary. So even farther away from where the actual Comanches were, but that's fine. Tons of tie-ins to previous Predator movies, Mitch, which I'm sure you caught lots of. We'll talk about those.
Yes.
But just generally, very well done movie. Other than the fact of a couple of those goofs, like I mentioned, pretty period accurate, and just like it was just really, really tight and well done. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we won't get fully into spoilers just yet. But I guess just overall impressions. Lisa, I'll start with you. I mean, what did you think? Because I know you've seen a number of the Predator films.
Yeah, 1, 2, maybe this is my third or fourth. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've seen Alien versus Predator. I've seen the original Predator. I feel like I've seen another one in there somewhere. I really like this one. Thought it was really good. Storyline was really good. Acting was incredible. Just really interesting overall. I spent the whole movie trying to figure out how she was going to defeat the Predator. And all of that played out really nicely. I did like how she fell in the mud pit. And I mean, the sinkhole came back into it later, right? Because she lured him into the sinkhole. But I think for every Predator fan, they were like, oh, now she's going to be covered in mud and she's going to realize that he can't see her. And then it ended up being, just she used the if I'm spoiling something else, stop me. But she found another way around it, which I thought was really, really cool. So, just a different take on it. I liked it, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I marked out pretty hard on the mud. I thought that was gonna. I was like, oh, it's the mud. So Taylor, so you mentioned that you really liked it. I guess I'm curious, and we'll get into it maybe a little more. Does this make you want to potentially watch any other of the Predator films?
It has made me curious about them.
Okay.
I don't know that Lisa actually thinks this is the best one. I'll wait and see. I think I would probably, if I was going to watch, maybe go back and watch like the original.
Yes, that's the only other one I would say is that to me is the second on the list.
Okay, so you definitively already know this is Prey is 1 and the original Predator is 2.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
They're all on Hulu, so no downsides on this one.
Is Predator 2 on Hulu?
Yes, I watched this movie, excellent. Then Predator 1, or then the end of Predator 1 and the end of Predator 2. Just to be like, all right, let me just make sure where this fits in here. That's how good this movie was. I went back and watched the end of Predator 2.
Yeah, any movie that's good enough. I mean, any movie that makes you like, I'm gonna go watch the other ones now. it's pretty stellar. I mean, I was pretty high. I was already very hyped. So this had the makings of a massive disappointment because of how high I'd built up expectations for it. And again, totally unfounded. No reason to have thought this was going to be the smash it was. But man, what a great movie. Totally delivered on the concept. Really interesting decisions on changing the Predator design, and sort of the look of him and sort of his weapons and everything. Because I mean, part of the appeal of Predator is the suit and the armor and everything, but also just the ridiculous amount of like weaponry he has. It's kind of I know he's hunting, but at a point, it's not kind of fair. It's like using a submachine gun to shoot, like to go duck hunting, right? Like, not quite the same skillsman. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. Nate, I know you said you were thrilled. Is there anything, I guess, that sticks out to you about this in comparison to maybe some of the other Predator films?
So the tie-ins in this one, so there's tie-ins, there's quotes, other things that call back to other Predator movies and kind of general things, but they're done and woven in so nicely. Even the mud fake out, like it fits into the universe very seamlessly and not like, wink callback ways, but like organically fits into just the general universe of the movies that came before it. This is the 5th Predator, standalone Predator movie, 7th if you count the 2 Alien vs Predators, and it wasn't calling back to things and winking and nodding and way too overtly doing things. Everything subtly worked nicely in the course of the story, which is extremely hard to do in the 5th movie in the franchise. Yeah. That's kind of the part I enjoyed the most. The writing along with the acting was so good. It fit seamlessly in, which is, again, so hard to do. So that's an incredible thing to call out for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of it, to me, I think stemmed from the fact they I think just had a lot of care and respect for just a lot of the overall subject matter. I mean, I think having a full, Native American cast to sort of help with that. I think it was just done in a very good way. It didn't try to do like any kind of cheap moves with it. Right. And doing a lot of that wink nod, and it's just handled very well. anything we want to say about this before we jump into basically not having to worry about accidentally spoiling something? Go watch this movie right now. Just pause the show. We'll be back. We're not going anywhere. Nate, anything?
No, it's on Hulu. Is this a Hulu advertisement at this point? I have no clue.
We're not sponsored by Hulu. Go. We're not giving. We don't have a code. Just pause it. All right. If you don't want to, if look, all I gotta say is if you don't want to get spoiled,
Get out of here, witch!
we spoiling some shit. Let's talk about this movie. Christ, Nate, so good. Just where do you want to start with this? I could go anywhere. It's all good.
Can I go on like a 5-minute rant really fast?
Do it.
Okay, so I was
Not where I thought we were going to start, but that's do it.
Yep. Usually it's you ranting, so I'm gonna throw one rant in here.
I'm excited.
I was looking at IMDb because I put the movie on my watch list. Right, as soon as like the last trailer, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is good. I'm pumped on this. Then I was looking at reviews, and the reviews started coming out, and the reviews were like, "Hey, this girl's like 90 pounds. How could she possibly face a predator? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger is like 250 and he barely beat a predator in the first one." And I was like, are you fucking kidding me with this garbage? Hey, have you ever watched Predator? Nothing that Arnold Schwarzenegger does physically impacts the predator at all, other than being able to use a pulley system to lift a rock. Other than that, zero zero strength of any kind to do anything with the predator. Because spoiler alert, the predator is stronger than everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. The predator looks at the dude who's the mountain and just like claws his face off. It doesn't matter who you are at all in terms of a person on Earth. You have no chance. It's all about mentally being smarter and learning about the predator's weaknesses, being a hunter, right? And surviving. So I thought that was just one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Everyone is 90 pounds compared to the predator. In fact, if you're bigger, you're a bigger target. It's almost worse. It's better to be smaller, basically, at that point. Because then the weapons to lock onto you can't lock onto you as easily. You need less mud to cover yourself, et cetera, et cetera. So I thought that was just so stupid. So anyway, and spoiler alert, same thing happens in this movie. Her physical prowess has very minimal to do with her surviving, other than her ability to run fast away from it, which she does all the time, which is the smart thing to do, which is what Arnold did, exactly the same thing too, to lure the predator into his trap in the first one. So anyway, end rant, ridiculous.
No, you're
the people saying
you're
that
good. It was pretty dumb. I mean, there was certainly going to be a little bit of, I think, early backlash from people who were just upset that they were like, it was going to be Predator, but not like the 80s Predator with all of, I mean, so Taylor, I don't know how much you know about the first one. I know you say you didn't watch it, but it's effectively like all of like some of the biggest names at the time, like biggest 80s, like bodybuilder action stars, like pro wrestlers. I mean, Apollo Creed's in there, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's just huge, just like monstrous dudes, right? That's kind of the point. They're all like these, commandos, and you don't actually even like, it doesn't even get really kind of into the meat of it until like halfway through the movie. It's very much an 80s action film that turns into like a sci-fi horror, and it's good, but it's a lot different than this one. And I say that because if you're going to watch that one after this, it's definitely an 80s action film. So depending on how you are with 80s action films, if you love that stuff, then it's right up your alley.
Well, it definitely sounds like those reviewers 100% missed the entire point of the film.
Yes.
Because the entire point is that even her tribe is underestimating her. And the predator does too. And then she uses that to her advantage.
Yep.
It's literally why it's called Prey. She's prey. She's not a threat. So I can understand your rage, Nate, reading that. Because it's like, they probably didn't even watch the movie, to be honest, because that's the whole point.
Well, no, they didn't watch the original Predator, because all these dudes, like Mitch are mentioning, are like got all these huge guns. They have their huge guns themselves with their huge muscles. Definitely roided out action happening there for sure in the jungle. And yeah, they all get murdered because it doesn't matter. Your bigness, your weapons, none of that really matters against the predator because the predator is already better than you at that. You need to find another angle to survive and to take it on because just being big and jacked gives you literally zero. You're just going to start trading punches with the predator. You're going to die instantaneously. So that's why, again, people didn't even watch the original. Okay, I'm done with this. But yes, ridiculous. But yeah, so how do you think they leaned in with the main character, so Naru? What did you think about her and her abilities, all that kind of stuff? What did you guys think? Just to take away from her as the lead character.
She's fabulous. I loved her. I loved her observational skills. Like, I loved how everything, I think, like you were talking about, Lisa, like every detail throughout the movie meant something. I like her being a good tracker, her recognizing the footprints, her being able to like piece together like how his helmet worked, like all this sort of stuff I thought was. And the dog was her right hand man, MVP. I was like, best actor in the film is definitely this dog, but all the other actors were also fantastic.
Being able to do the medicine, right, and realize, oh, my heart rate slowed down, so he can't see me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really good. She came up with a lot of clever things, like her rope with her dagger slingshot sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Taylor, I have to ask, because I know Lisa watched me the entire time this way. How nervous were you for this dog through the entirety of the film?
So stressed. Every time the dog, and like you'd hear it, oh my God, that scene where they're at the camp and the dog starts barking and you're like, oh no, sorry, he's coming back. Oh, I was so stressed.
Yeah. I was going to say at the end, it's when the dog helps out, sorry, not sorry on that one right there.
Yeah, I loved the assist from Sorry. That was so good because they like planted that seed the whole time, but you didn't think anything of it, or I didn't think anything of it. I wasn't like, oh, they're going to use the dog like later against the predator. And it was just so good. Love that.
Now so does the dog die is no on this one, but do the other animals die? Yes. Let's get into all the other animals that die real fast. Sorry.
Of course.
Sorry, Taylor. Gotta get a rundown. So does a bird die? Yes. A bird gets shot very cavalierly also. I didn't know if that would upset you or not. How cavalier that bird shooting was.
I can't even remember it, so it didn't faze me. Apparently,
he was telling the story, and then she acted like she was asleep, and then he shot the arrow.
It's fine.
They're back at her.
Hunting. They're gonna that they lived off the land and hunting. Don't care about that.
Okay, so you're okay. All the birds can die
I was more outraged when the main character destroyed a beaver habitat for no good reason. She crawled in the dam.
Wow. Yeah, I broke the dam. No, that was good. Mountain lion. Yeah, hey, mountain lion gets its own on the way out. To be fair, but mountain lion dies. Does the snake die? Yes, pretty terrible.
Ooh, yeah.
Does the rabbit die? Yes. Does the wolf die? Yes. Does the bear die? Yes. Am I missing any other one? There's so many.
Well, there's all the
do all the bison.
Yeah.
Do all the bison get skinned for absolutely no reason and totally wasted? Yes. So yeah, that's a lot of animals that got it in this one.
And then of course, and then and let's talk about that, because here I am thinking like, oh, that's the Predator's really just going to work here, and then it's like, oh, that wasn't the Predator that did the bison.
That was the French.
The French. Yeah,
the French every time, Mitch. Sorry, we gotta call them out.
Sacre bleu, so bad.
Sacre bleu.
Oh man, what I really liked about I think her journey too is she's shown as competent, right? Like she has these like skills both from helping out the tribe with, with her mother and so learning about beds, all that, but being able to track and all that. So when you do the progression and when she's like learning and she's kind of building her skills and going through that journey, it doesn't feel like totally unearned or out of nowhere. It's not like the kind of common, like, I've never done any of this before. Now all of a sudden I'm going up against this like incredible enemy and winning, right? There's that basis to it. I really thought it was really good how they showed that.
Yeah, her primary skill is being a fast learner. Mm-hmm. That's really her main. That's her main differentiator. How she is able to do things, right? She just learns quickly.
Well, and being clever.
She's not
right?
the best. Yeah. She's not the best really at any particular thing. She's just very good at a lot of things and a very quick learner.
Yeah, and
she can use what she's learned very fast. So that's really the main skill that helps her, the entire movie, and not really her strength or speed. She got some parkour moves also, which is kind of nice. She seems pretty quick in terms of running. She's good with an axe.
She's confirmed smarter than a beaver. Like
she's 100%. Smarter than. Are you smarter? Are you smarter than a beaver? And then yes. That was my Jeff Foxworthy mention. There you go.
I did not enjoy any of that, so thank you.
That's like Dr. Phil meets Jeff Foxworthy. I don't know what that was.
I don't want that visual in my head. Get it out. Get it out.
And how is that going for you? I don't know. But no, she's so good. And then her brother is a badass too. I mean, it all works out. There's obviously, you get into some of the Comanche, just kind of general, society, how things are structured. How much did it piss you guys off? I'm going to ask the ladies here. When you see all the women are up early doing stuff and all the men are asleep, how did you guys feel about that one? Did you notice that was what was happening?
I mean, has much changed?
Oh, boom! Yeah, she gets woken up and her brother's sleeping.
What do you mean, get him? It's me.
Get him!
What are we getting?
Get him!
Yeah. Hulu's really hitting it with the feminist horror films between Fresh and Prey. I'm sure there's others.
Fresh Prey, double feature right there. That's a good one. Yeah, that one was interesting. She's like, and then when she saw that again, she's like, you know what? I'm pissed off. I'm gonna go hunt the predator. Did not go well, just generally for a little while.
Yeah, I like that though. It was realistic. Like she wasn't. Like I liked too. They showed her brother's willing to give her a chance, but she really wasn't. I mean, she was going to get there, but she wasn't really ready to fully do the hunt yet.
Well, but she's totally self-trained with no additional help. That's the difference, right? She hasn't had any of the father-son, training sessions and where everyone kind of got to hone all their skills, right? And learn. She was just learning on her own in a very
she has to physically go
path.
Against the way of the tribe, as they showed her walking
against
the opposite direction.
Grain. Exactly.
A little heavy-handed, but I liked the visual metaphor there. But
so good. I love it. Oh, that was incredible. But yeah, anyway, so let's get into some of these major scenes. I mean, we're talking about this bear scene. Holy shit. This bear scene was kind of the first real set piece. What'd you guys think of that scene?
Also, the first time I was very stressed about the fate of the dog, because that's how it starts.
Kill everyone else. As long as the dog's okay, I don't care.
I mean, can we just call this as going to be an Oscar winner now? Because if you have a bear fight scene in a movie, you're winning an Oscar, right? That's how it's worked in recent times.
That's the precedent for Revenant, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Did Grizzly Bear, the Werner Herzog documentary win? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, yeah.
That's a little morbid. Anyway, yeah. Just general thoughts about that. That's kind of the first scene. The Predators killing some animals here and there, but very, very kind of sparse views of the predator, which I think is good, right? Like the more you just kind of see the predator, the less scary they become, right? So this is kind of the first true interaction, right, at that scene. So again, any thoughts on that would be interesting. Poor bear. Does the bear die? Jesus. Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a very effective scene, right? That bear is bearing down on her, and
oh god,
thank you. And watching, not seeing the actual. I mean, you do see some of the bear fighting against the predator, which I thought was interesting to see a bear fight. Even the glimpses of it was something else. It was really good. It's a good introduction. Again, what I think is interesting is in the original Predator, you don't really get into the Predator until almost halfway through the movie. There's some others, it takes a while before you really anything starts happening in that. The Predator is sort of introduced and brought in pretty early in the film and spread out through it. But yeah, you don't. It's very well done in that you don't ever really get a full glimpse of what's going on, just bits and pieces, but it's sprinkled throughout. I thought that was really good. And having him take out a bear right there on his own really sort of helps set the oh shit stay. Yeah, it's a great scene. T's and P's dam. Beaver Dam,
Yeah, Beaver Dam. That's the true crime right there.
To me, the best Predator scene is, it's not even the fight in the French, which that's just a badass battle. There's a scene where he's chasing her in like the tall grass, right?
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's so good.
And it's the overhead view. And so here's the thing: in all the Predator movies, he's never really shown as being like fast. He's very, it's very much more just camouflage, kind of sneaking around, just kind of shows up. This is the first time you see him like chase something. Holy shit, the Predator is fast. Like you're watching that invisible trail just coming after him, and it is just beelining for him. That was maybe genuinely probably the scariest part of the film. Like, oh shit, they're dead.
So this is actually a different Predator type, right? If you watch the other films, you'll notice that the Predator looks different here. This is what they call the feral Predator. So it's a little bit faster, a little bit more physical in terms of like lifting bears up. So got that part covered.
Did you make that up, or did someone actually?
No, I saw this. It's called that was the nickname they had. It was the feral Predator, but it had this. I saw this, but anyway, it has a lot less. It has a lot less expanded, like a lot less sophisticated weaponry, though, than in the other movies, which makes sense because it's like 260 years before, whatever,
right,
before the other first one, right? So I guess so yeah. So in this one, I think physical attributes are like probably faster, probably stronger, but the weaponry is a lot more basic too. So that also plays into this movie and how it's a little bit different with the other ones. The other ones, you got the 3 dot, you got the dots, and then you got like huge shoulder cannons that are exploding like tons of stuff. And the weaponry is a little more like sophisticated. They can blow things up easier. Although this one did have a nice kind of thrown weapon from the Predator as well. So there was some stuff. It was just a little bit more basic. So that also kind of sets the stage a little bit in terms of how the battle goes, as opposed to the other movies, which I thought was, again, another nice touch. It was definitely different with the shield and all that kind of stuff. This Predator was more willing to engage with like groups and things like that. Whereas in the other movies, not nearly as much. It was more like you were saying, Mitch, stealth and picking people off here and there, as opposed to out in the open. Although, again, in 2018 Predators, they were a little more out in the open, just driving around in cars, shooting at people, good times. But before that, not so much. So, again, another interesting change. I'm going to look up feral predators to make sure I didn't make that up, Taylor, but pretty sure that I did not. I saw it. I searched it, and there's a lot of things. So I'm gonna count it. There you go. Yeah.
We don't know
Feral
what
predator.
Nate's just searching his like typed up notes. And he just wrote feral predator. It was just like, yeah, they're in the notes here. Someone,
It's on the
someone,
internet.
someone
on
wrote
the
it.
internet.
Someone
It's
wrote
on the
it.
Internet. No, this is from an interview.
It was in my It was in my IMDb review.
No,
I wrote it there.
It's in an interview in comicbook.com, so you know it's accurate.
Oh.
It's a true story.
Lisa, was there a scene that stood out to you in terms of like just, you know, was there anything about what stood out to you? What was something really memorable about this movie?
I think we already touched on it, but just all of her creative ways to hunt and fight and it's, get him in the end. So she was, everyone kept underestimating her, but she was very clever, So I like that.
Yeah. What did you, so one of the things I enjoyed, I'm curious what you thought, the inclusion of the French, the fur traders in this movie. What did you think about that, them being kind of thrown as a sort of this kind of new element into the mix?
I liked it. It was good. It kind of, Nate pointed out we're probably in the wrong part of the country, but it was good to see someone else's perspective on facing the predator and their master plan that failed so horribly.
Yeah. I particularly liked that they were aware that the predator existed too. We didn't have this sort of like, what's going on? Like they knew it, and that's why they captured her and were trying to figure out what, how to go about and use the bait. I thought that was a really clever use for having this kind of battle set up. Nate, Taylor, what'd y'all think? I mean, anytime you can add the French into a film, it instantly makes it better.
Those are words.
I feel like yeah.
Other words.
It makes it fancier, I believe. It's
I don't know. I mean, it was good because when I saw the bison, I wasn't sure if the predator had done it or if like other settlers had done it or explorers. So that was cool to kind of tie that in because that is, at least I think, some basis in historical accuracy of people, not just killing animals for sport and not using it. And I would say that the acting from some of the French actors, I felt like they were the most over the top with like, like we're so bad. And like, I don't know, but I thought it was effective to have them, especially in terms of setting up the final confrontation. And then when they threatened her dog, I was like,
kill them all.
I was very glad that helped unlock her because she went to a very warranted level of aggression that I was ready to see them all go. Once they were like, oh, we'll just kill this dog for no reason.
Taylor's in her living room, just standing ovation. Get him.
Get him. Exactly. I was like, yeah, get him, girl. I like, do not mess with Sorry. Do not touch this girl's dog. But I love the setup of like them. Ultimately, I like, she learns from when she gets captured that the predator stopped and went away when he saw that she was in a trap because it perceived she wasn't a threat. And then her using that to her and Tabe's advantage when the French are trying to use them as bait, and she knows this is going to backfire, and it does spectacularly. So it was a really fun scene.
Yeah. What I really like too about the French and predator fight scene is like when you got the guy looking through the binoculars and you can just in the background see the other guys like falling off their horses, basically getting killed by the predator while they're still like looking, but it's not like it's off in the corner, so it's not immediately visible. But I thought that was such a cool touch, just like that he's just starting to take them out already at the perimeter. And then him just jumping through the trees and like going full like Patriot on him with the axe was something else. a lot of just really good action scenes considering everything. I mean, even per your rant, Nate, even with the big action stars of the 80s, this probably had the better sequence of fight scenes than any of the Predator movies, I would say.
Oh yeah, by far. I mean, the other ones, like, people are getting killed off screen.
It's all gunfighting half the time, it's
just like dudes just shooting like 1,000 million bullets into nothing a lot. I mean, it's just, this was better. It's interesting because it's like, specialization, like it's specialization versus specialization. This kind of reminded, like in UFC 1, or like there'd be like Hoist Gracie versus like a sumo wrestler, right? It's like, all right, here's a 140-pound Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy versus like a 400-pound sumo, right? It's just like a total clash of styles, right? In terms, and like, what can you do? What's your specialization? Like, what is your goal? If your goal was to crush the other person, I'm sure the sumo would have thing. If your other goal is, hey, we're fighting in a thing where we can't murder each other and I can submit you, then all of a sudden the other person has a chance. And this one, the Predator's goal is just it's a little rough, and obviously we don't want to get into Predator society at all, like Predators and Predator 2.
Obviously
we don't want to do that. Even though Predators wasn't too bad. Sorry, Topher Grace, but there was a Topher Grace Predators movie. Anyway, it's as good as it sounds. It's as good as it sounds, Taylor and Lisa. But in this one, it's, there's a variety of different people involved. And because they are more immediate threats, she just keeps again escaping, like by the skin of her teeth, a million different times and get out of it. It's not like a straight up one-on-one. There's nothing like that. It's just about surviving and being, the way that she gets the Predator injured in the first place is probably the cheapest shot of all time. Like sneaking up from behind with a gun. Like, that's just a total cheap shot. Exactly what you would have to do to have any chance, right?
Yeah.
Even after that cheap shot, basically needed kind of like almost a Rube Goldberg machine type setup, and almost dying previously in the movie for it to have any sense, right? So, it was very lucky, but also took a lot. It was very lucky and a lot of skill at the right time. But it wasn't like extremely far-fetched, which is what I really liked. It wasn't super far-fetched. The lead person was very competent, just like Arnold at the end, right, of the movie. Like, super competent, learns. Well, then he tries to go in a punch fest. I don't know. Arnold tries to go into basically a punch fest with the Predator, who's like, not even really injured at that point, whereas she does her fighting with the Predator, who's extremely injured, doesn't have its helmet or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
So it was even a smarter setup, to be honest. In this one, Arnold only gets away because the Predator throws him really far and gets pissed off. That's it. That's the only reason Arnold survived at all, is because the Predator got pissed off and took its helmet off and was like, all right, I'm just going to beat the shit out of you because you make me work this hard. That's the only reason. Arnold didn't really, he had a setup, but he got lucky that happened. In this movie, I think it's even less far-fetched that this setup worked. So again, it was done really well. It was done real well. Do you want to go through the Rube Goldberg machine of things that had to happen for this Predator to get killed at the end? Because there's a lot going on here.
I feel I am good, but I feel like you need to go get through this, get this out of your soul.
Sure.
So if you want to,
all right.
Through.
So her brother dies to sacrifice himself after fighting the Predator pretty well on his own, to be honest. Comanche's well known for fighting with horses, being really good on horseback. Definitely worked in this one. Gives himself up because it goes invisible. I think at one doesn't she say cheater, or doesn't he say cheater? One of them says cheater when it goes invisible again.
I think she does. Yeah,
because they're like outsmarting it, where the French, it could just use its the scene where the scene where he does the Predator does the shield. And then the French guys shoot into it, and they all have to reload, like so slow, 1700s. The Predator just murders them so fast. I felt bad for those dudes. But yeah, so what she has to do is the brother has to sacrifice himself. She has to take medicine, which makes her blood go colder than the threshold of the predator's heat vision. Yeah, heat vision. Then has to shoot it in the back of the head almost point blank to knock that off. Then it gets chased, almost murdered numerous times. Gets the predator's arm cut off. Almost gets decapitated. Has to take the predator's tooth off, which was intense also. Still getting chased. It's still better than her. She does a little bit of fighting. I think slashes its leg. Gets hit also. Dog does a nice distract. Then has to basically lure it to the bog where she almost drowned. Get it in there with the hatchet, pull with the rope that she added to the end of it, which made it easy to snap back, which is cool. Then that didn't do it. So losing a limb, shot in the back of the head, lost a tooth that got stabbed inside of it. Should have drowned. None of that works. Then when she saw earlier in the movie where the homing thing on the homing dots, obviously from earlier movies, the projectile thing always goes to that. She had to set that up in the bog, pointing where the predator would be, to then get the predator to inadvertently headshot itself. I mean, ridiculous amount of setup, but it all felt earned. If you say it all back to back, it seems terrible, but it all felt very earned by what happened earlier in the movie and what had just come before. So I thought it was a crazy good setup there, like kind of using everything she had learned throughout the entire movie to set up that trap, a la Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first one. I'm clapping. Do you guys hear me clapping? I don't know. I feel like, am I clapping in my head? I don't know what's happening.
I did feel like it was really well earned. I liked that every detail, even details I didn't expect to come back into play, were somehow kind of interwoven at the end. The only thing where I was like not super believable is like in this giant bog, you managed to get him in the exact placement for his little projectiles that set up across the bog to go right through him. But I was willing to give her that. I was like, yeah, you've earned this. But I was like, that felt a tad too convenient, but it was cool. It was a great moment.
It was placed directly in a headshot, like she knew how tall the predator was. That's a tough one, but yeah, also a great.
I was willing to cede the point on that because that was it did feel very well earned. It's not like it came easily at all. So one detail working in her favor, I was like, we'll give it to her.
Yeah. What do you think about the end, Lisa? Did you start clapping? What happened?
Yeah, heck yeah. It was really good. Like I said, I had been waiting the whole movie to see how she was going to do the final kill, and it paid off. And her walking back, with his head was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Covered in that
neon blood.
Yeah, that was great.
So good. That was such a great final image. That was just an excellent way to end the movie. Even though maybe they were all a little too happy considering how many other tribe members had been killed by the thing, but she freaking did it. And she was covered in his blood, brought that head back. That was sweet. I was like, yeah, that was a great ending.
All I'm saying is that's a bold strategy to have an alien DNA just like all over your face. Like if that had been the xenomorph, her face is gone. Like it's like acid blood. Like it's I get it. It's a cool visual.
She saw the blood on other stuff before.
Okay, well, that's good.
She did see the blood on other stuff before, so I think she saw it wasn't acidic. I don't know.
That might not come off. I don't know. It looks badass, but it's
it never came off.
That's one of the things that like in the moment it seems like a great idea, and then
I will say too, kind of related to that, like all the responses to technology were like the way that all the different characters, like the first time you see like the laser dots and they're just like, what's this weird light? Like it felt so, it was funny. I guess like as a modern viewer, your like immediate response is like, oh my gosh, run. But they're just like, oh, what is it? And it brought some levity to it, but still felt super realistic. I felt like the way everyone, like the way they responded to the bomb, the way they responded to the lasers. Like, it was very, to me, it felt really realistic because they would have had no precedent for anything even close to that level of technology. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Great.
All right. Well, look, we've talked a lot. This movie, I could keep talking about this movie, but we need to get into the final cut.
Final cut.
Lisa, I'm going to kick it over to you to start us off. I'm curious where you're gonna set the bar here.
Oh, it was really good. The plot was really good. The pacing was good because you run across them so many times, but it didn't get so tedious that you're like, all right, this is just getting drawn out for no reason. She was great acting wise and her character in terms of everything she did. The rest of the cast was really good too. I think it's I almost wonder if going forward, people will watch this one first since it's just chronologically first, but we'll see. So in terms of rating, oh man, I'm on the fence between two numbers here. I really liked it, so I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Woo!
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I was debating 8 or 9, but I mean, I don't really have anything bad to say about it, so we'll go 9.
Basically, your rating was, it's not Edward Scissorhands, but it's getting there. 9 out of 10.
Yep.
Okay. Nate.
Would I go back and watch it again? Maybe.
Oh, that's better. That's in the top 95 percentile of things you've watched for this movie, for these movies.
Yeah.
For this show. So, damn. All right.
Yeah. So, Nate, where are you going?
Yeah, I want to go last.
No, I'm going last. Haha, called it.
What?
That's how it works. Go, Nate.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Fine, I'll go. Okay. This movie is very good. I'm debating. So, I gave Predator a 9. So did you, Mitch. I'm debating if this is a better movie. I cannot decide.
That's why I wanted to go last, because I'm still trying to think which ones. Okay, so we're in the same boat, effectively.
I'm gonna go 9 also. Fuck it. 9. It's good. It's real good. I've given 2 9s in a row. Holy crap. There's some good movies this year, man. This is good. This is so good. This had no right being as good as it was for this. There's no budget, but you can tell it wasn't the biggest budget because of the CGI. Some of the CGI was a little ganky, just generally. But this had just no right to be this good. The stuff with the Comanche Dub was incredible. The characters are very good. How some of these people had not acted in movies before is just beyond me. Everyone was pretty solid. The French were douchebags. There's one good guy who handed a gun, which the Predator handed back to Danny Glover in the end of the second one. I don't know if you knew that, Mitch.
I did. I definitely worked out hard on that.
Yep. I had to watch the second one again. I'm like, that was the gun. Yes, same gun.
Yeah.
So apparently, then, if you look at the credits, which probably gets me from like an 8 to a 9. The credits have the Comanche basically pictographs of what happened after that. And the Predators go down and talk to Naru and her tribe again. And I think that's where the gun got gifted or something, which is incredible. So even after the credits, the movie was good.
Interesting. I saw the pictogram of the Predator ships. I didn't see them actually talking. I'll have to go back and.
Well, where did the gun come from? The Predators had to have gotten the gun.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it was like a piece of, hey, you guys want to not murder us for a bit? Cool. So I'm assuming that's what it was. So yeah, even that was sweet. Again, it tied in so seamlessly to everything else, but just not in a very pandery, gross, just obvious way. Everything just seamlessly fit. The writing, the acting, the directing, the dog work, all of it was good. So 9 out of 10 for me.
And okay, so I'll ask you, where do you stack this? Is this the best of the Predator
I think
films?
this is probably slightly better than the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a slight bump over the first one, just because, like the game of cat and mouse is more cat and mouse. The first one is everyone just getting murdered instantaneously. Yeah. Not even on screen, where this one, it really shows it off. Multiple phases of the Predator, where you only really got one phase of the Predator in the first one. That's probably what gives me the bump, because it goes stealth, animals, people, like brutality, other stealth, scary running, and then French all out war, using more of the weaponry, and then back to the cat and mouse game, which is a little more developed than the Arnold version. So yeah, I think it probably a little bit above.
Okay, Taylor, where are you going with your final cut?
So, I mean, I really like this movie. It's interesting to hear, like, Nate, you talk about how much it's tied into the other movies, because I think, like, I really like this movie. I think this movie stands well on its own. As someone who's never seen Predator, I don't feel like I needed to have seen Predator to enjoy this movie. I really liked it. But there are, like, it's cool that there are all those details that I didn't know about, obviously, because I haven't seen those. But I can see how that would bump your rating higher. I would say for me, I think this is like, I came in thinking I was going to say 7. I could maybe say 8. I feel like it's somewhere a 7.5. I'll say 7.5, because I feel like it's an excellent movie on its own. I think it's a good sci-fi horror thriller. I didn't personally think it was very scary. And even though a lot of the kills were on screen, I didn't feel like it was overly gory. Like I felt like it was reasonable. But the storyline was awesome. The characters were awesome. It's a fun movie. It didn't blow my mind. I think it was like, I really enjoyed it and I would definitely recommend it. But it didn't blow my mind. So, like, it was super unique though. I think that's the one thing that's what this movie really is going for. It's super unique concept, very well executed. The acting is fantastic. The plot's well written. It was good. Very solid. 7.5.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. I've been going back and forth on this, and I'll keep it kind of short and sweet, but I agree with a lot of what y'all said. To me, the Predator is better than Prey. And I will say, I say that part of it's nostalgia. Part of it's that it's the first one and it introduced this awesome creature to us, right? Because I mean, like, there's been so many sequels because we've wanted a good, like, Predator movie, and we finally have, like, the best sequel, right? Delivered in Prey. But man, I mean, how iconic is so much of what came out of Predator, right? There's so many great one-liners. I mean, some of the just quintessential 80s sci-fi. I mean, I just can't, when I think of, like, which one would I grab if I wanted to just watch one of these films, I'm going to probably go Predator first and then Prey. That said, Prey is so good. I think, Taylor, I think you said something that I think I want to jump on, was it didn't blow my mind. It's just very well executed. It's very well done. It does hit all of those, like, fan servicey type stuff, but not in a gratuitous way, right? It's not like just totally pandering, like you said, Nate. I'm giving this, oh man, I'm going to give this 8 out of 10 spine trophies. It just, yeah, it's really good.
We kind of glossed over the fact that this Predator is like quasi Wolverine at certain points.
Yeah.
do we just skip that this thing's Wolverine for a little while?
If anything, I think I probably have fewer points on the actual Predator design in general. I think it was a little bit too much departure, and maybe some of the weaponry was probably a little.
Well, it's 300 years earlier. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but it's 300 years earlier, but he still has like very similar weaponry.
This guy was
maybe
the Naru. He got the, he's like the new dude, just trying to, figuring it out.
Yeah, calling him the feral Predator isn't helping here.
Oh, that helped me a lot. I was very.
If you're gonna give me a feral Predator, that actually hurts it. If you're gonna tell me it's feral Predator, I want to see him like running through the trees more and just slashing more than just like the measured hunter thing. And that's, to me, that's not what you're wanting to go see from a Predator film.
Well, there was some measured hunting, but when the first group of the Comanche get murdered, that was not measured hunting. Holy shit. That was
agreed. I, again, very much enjoyed it. It is like a close 1-2. I'd almost, if we did have points, I'd say I'm probably 8.5. Like, it's very close to matching Predator, but
I mean, we just let Taylor do whatever she wants. I mean, you can do whatever you want too.
I had no idea that was a rule. So
it's fine. I'm gonna self-impose that rule. You're good. You're good. We clearly allow it. All right, well, that's gonna wrap it up for this week's episode. Nate, where can they find us?
You can find us and our Predator takes, as always, at TX Pod Massacre on Twitter, Texas Podcast Massacre, everywhere else. Give us a call as long as you're not a tax person, apparently. 346-246-3143. Send us an email, texaspodcastmassacre@gmail.com. And let us know what you thought what about Prey? This movie's done gangbusters. It's done extremely well. The director, Dan Trachtenberg, said that there's multiple movies potentially in the pipeline. They were talking about it, see how this one does. I would assume that at least one more movie gets made because this is doing extremely well. Word of mouth and critics and audiences and setting Hulu streaming records. So I'm assuming in a couple of years we'll see another Predator movie. Is it Predators versus The Bachelorette? I really hope so. Hulu's got a lot of those reality shows, so I feel like that's a natural tie-in. Predator,
Taylor deserves. Taylor just deserves.
Predator, why don't you open up more? Why are you opening up? We really need you to work together with us on this. I mean, incredible stuff.
He just goes camouflage whenever he wants talking about their feelings. He just like just disappear.
Hey, feral Predator. No, we're having a house meeting right now. Just goes invisible and gets out of there. Incredible stuff. So anyway, that's awesome. Give us a 5-star review on the podcast platform of your choice. Your movie will come up. Hey, there's a Hellraiser movie coming up very shortly because someone recommended Hellbound: Hellraiser 2, and that is on the list, along with apparently Joyride, unfortunately. So pick another movie that's better than those and give us a 5-star review. We will put it on the list.
Someone give me Puppet Master. We need to we're gonna have to force Nate to do this. I had to suffer through Gretel and Hansel. It's time for Nate to experience either Puppet Master 1, 3, 4, or 5. Please, one of those specifically.
Oh, that's it? Oh, that's it?
Does not want to watch number 2, apparently. So.
Number 2 is okay, but let's get to the good ones. Let's just get to the
fact that number 2 is just okay based on the way you're describing the other ones makes me think this is one of the worst movies ever existed.
I don't know about that. There's not much. There's not a whole lot to it. There's not a whole lot to it. There's when you have a sequel, you're like, let's just have them go fight Nazis in the next one. You know there wasn't a whole lot of new ground to tread. Let us know.
Haven't Puppet Master gone to outer space? Have they been to outer space yet?
Surprisingly, no. They have not been outer space.
Oh my God! Wow. Okay.
That requires a bit of a budget. That requires a bit of a budget, and that's not what these movies are known for.
No, it doesn't. All it requires is you to paint the inside of your sets silver. That's really all it requires at that point. That's what Leprechaun 4 did. So
fair. With that said, Taylor, thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was a fun one. I'm glad to haven't had an opportunity to watch this movie. It was good.
They aren't all winners, so we're it's always good when we have a really good one to kind of dig into.
Oh, I know. I know they're not all winners. They're able to come back for another movie.
Some of those movies are killer clowns from outer space.
I'm just remembering that y'all made me watch Jeepers Creepers 3 and how mad I still am about that. So
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you know, a fourth one's coming out this year. That just letting you know that is.
I'm definitely busy. Whenever y'all are gonna do it, I'm definitely not available.
That's probably fair. I wish we were unavailable for that one as well. Lisa, welcome back. It was great to have you back to talk about Prey. And again, samely, I'm glad we had a movie that wasn't terrible and miserable.
Yep. Me too.
Yeah. I love it. All right. Well, from all of us here at Texas Podcast Massacre, thank you so much for tuning in, and just keep telling yourself it's only a movie. Good night.